Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. Let me invite our very special guest. I mean, special to me, but maybe not special to you. But it is Bobby Firestone. Just got to send him the link. Okay, link sent. Text reminder being sent. Link sent. Right. All right, so we're going to go over baseball slate, but I'm currently on tilt because I did not win the tennis GPP. I really wanted to win it, even though it was only cashing for like 600. So I guess first thing I want to check is I want to check weather really quickly before start worrying about it. MLB weather. Yeah, I'm chilled. Well, Philly, Chicago. Ugh. Well, that is somewhat relevant considering best pitcher on the slates in that game. Hey, what's up, Bobby?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm on tilt. I didn't win the tennis thing.
No, you finally didn't win something. I feel bad for you. I do actually feel. I'm sorry you didn't win it, but
yeah, it would have cashed for like $420. It would have chopped with literally 214 people. Anyway,
I'm guessing the tennis works like that pretty often.
I don't know. It's my first slate.
Maybe in the early rounds, you can pick an upset or something like that.
Well, there were only 8 total matches.
Right. Yeah. By this time, I meant more early on.
Oh, right.
But you can. You guys, we're doing a bunch of stuff to the site. I just did my 5-5 video. A lot of people were happy to see that, which I'm happy to see. Eric's been crushing everything lately, but I've been adding my things slowly but surely, and we're getting really, really close to being a more complete site. And really appreciate you guys being with us the whole time. And we actually have a meeting about it after this one a little bit later. So, but to get with today's slate, we've got some stuff to talk about. So I have a read. This is just a personal read. I always felt like with the Roth situation, I know I use him as primarily for weather. I'm happy to hear about any other weather concerns from anybody else and all that stuff. But I do want to just point out that I felt yesterday that by the way he was writing about it, and when I wasn't listening to him, that it got us all off of DeGrom. So good for us. You know what I mean? Like we really did the right thing there. Today, my read is sort of different, that his being wishy-washy is more to do with yesterday and people sort of trying to pin him down to an answer. So I think that there's actually more safety in this game than he's letting on from my brief research that I've done outside. Not even brief, just that I've looked at a few other weather things. And Sheets, I was kind of curious to get your take on that, because that sort of is where the slate kind of starts on DraftKings especially. I do think you want to get exposure to Wheeler, assuming that game does play, right?
Yeah, I presume that it's playing. We'll watch, leading up until as late as possible. If anything really changes, we'll think about what to do. But I'm, for now, just operating under the assumption that it's playing, and I'm getting a lot of him, and I'm getting a lot of Philly.
Yeah, and we can hope that we can capitalize. Like, he's still going to be popular, but some people have got to be a little bit hurt after yesterday, and so many good lineups with DeGrom in them. Yeah, so I have no interest in the hitting in that game anyway. I'm only interested in the one thing, and that's Wheeler. But I also think there's other routes you can go on DraftKings and FanDuel. Believe it or not, my main pitcher on my FanDuel stack is the same as yesterday. It's the Yankees pitcher. I went for the value and stacked the Dodgers that I wanted with the Blue Jays. So that'll sort of give you an idea of what I'm doing. It's I took Herman, and I don't love it. I'm not playing a ton over there. I do feel good about taking one shot in a lineup against a weak Seattle offense where I could see him at least getting through 5 with 7 or 8 strikeouts, possibly, maybe even get to 6. and get the win. And I think that might be good enough if the bats do what we want them to do tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually just finishing up my FanDuel builds. I'm imagining that I'm going to get more of the Herman over there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, we'll see. That's funny. Adam, what's up to Adam and K9 Bronco and Big Ticket in chat? Really appreciate you guys always sticking with us. I think it's Big Ticket pointed out that Sosa was in the lineup because O'Neill got food poisoning. That's pretty funny. Look, sometimes things work out. You know what though? Like you could have done something different. You know what I mean? Like you could be like me and going, why didn't I just play Hoskins instead of Vlad? And I could have done this and I would have won the tournament. But I like that about you. You're not sitting there going over that. You got some breaks, but you also got not unlucky, but things could have definitely broken a little bit more in your favor in the end. Peralta with the bases loaded and all that.
Yeah, but I wasn't. It's not like I was winning. These guys had big.
No, you could come in. You would have come in second though, and if he hits a double or something, and then you got your guy on deck who could hit a home run in Escobar. So that's how you win tournaments sometimes.
No complaints.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just gonna I'm just reading through what they're saying. But Adam says we said when your lights were flickering that was the nail in the coffin for DeGrom. So, for me, it was the Mrs. Sheets weather forecast. Does it every time.
That's right.
She's been more accurate. She's not as consistent with her predictions as Roth, but she's more accurate.
That's right. She comes in, yeah.
Yeah. So, and one quick question I'll address from K9 Bronco is any love for Wood on FanDuel. I do think Wood is a solid play. I am personally not playing a ton on FanDuel, so I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm using Wheeler in one, and I'm using in one of them. I mean, there's smaller one too, but it's Wheeler and two Herman for me over here.
Hang on, I don't want to this weather discussion off to the side. Just when you're done. Okay.
What's that? No, we're gonna jump back. We just every minute we go by, we find more out about how likely it is to land over.
What I meant is that we were talking kind of like funny about yesterday. The staring at the wall and staring out the window and we got off it. I mean, this weather thing is I've tried to verbalize this as best as I can since this whole season started about why I don't want to play any weather games ever, right? And the math of it, just the impact of having a 0 on something is just so brutal that I don't think that, like if you ran numbers that, let's just say you legitimately thought something was 20% chance to rain out, okay, and you play them anyway. I mean, you have to be picking that up that much in ownership leverage, and I just don't know if you can ever get it with a game that's like legitimately orange.
On a full slate, I would tend to totally agree with you.
Yeah, so I am going to continue to watch this this situation in Philly and see what it's like.
Yeah. We could run through favorite plays. I don't even mind if we do positions today. Actually, I'm with the site and everything and us getting everything together, I'm sort of entrenched in everything a lot more than usual, which is really good for at least talking about DFS, maybe not always playing. And maybe the reason you feel partly that way, Sheets, is you haven't had those Colorado games that look bad and you're in first place and it's midnight Eastern time and the Colorado game just starts or something like that. It happens. And those are the brutal ones where and then the game scores 25 runs and you feel like you lost it, because you didn't play the game or whatever. But anyway, it's just, I hear your point. I think on full slates, I agree with you. On smaller slates, I'm definitely willing to take some chances, or in large field tournaments that are small buy-in. But other than that, I totally agree. So, who are you playing today, and has it changed much since earlier? Oh,
yeah. So in FanDuel, I'm on FanDuel, as I suspected, I'm like all over the place with my pitching. I mean, I'm only playing 20 lineups, and the most I have of anybody is 20%. I'm like everywhere on FanDuel. I'm paying down at so many different spots so I can get all these bats. I don't know. That's where I am. My highest owned guy is tied between Wheeler and Alex Wood, but I got some of everybody. I got Herman. I have one with St. Louis guy paying like 2 cents. So that's where I am on FanDuel. Let me go to my DraftKings. Where are you at on FanDuel?
I think the Oviedo thing is just kind of caught me like that. You said that. I'm playing Herman and Wheeler, and I'm going long-term talent on Herman. And that if he gets through a few clean innings, that maybe they let him continuing to go. We don't have an actual pitch limit, right? He just hasn't. They haven't left him in the game, but it's not like he's given up a ton of runs in those games, so it's a little worrisome. But it allows me to do everything I want. I do think that he's going to be low owned also, and I just like betting against Seattle. Now, every now and then, people keep saying, "Oh, it costs me," but it costs us because we do it all the time. It doesn't always cost us in general. Even just look at the K prop, 6.5, 6,500 with the same K prop as Alex Wood and Chris Paddock, who are, 1,100 and 1,800 more than him. And I'm not saying that's all you should look at, but it's certainly something worth factoring in, especially when you factor in that he's going to be 1/3 as owned as each of those guys. So that's just the way that I'm looking at it. And while it normally is, and FanDuel's done a better job lately of pricing people up when they should be priced up, but Wheeler is pretty easy to get in with the stacks you want if you use some of the very obvious value out there. I just didn't want to be in what's sort of playing like a small slate on the same things as everybody else. So I like starting with Herman and building out the Dodgers, and the Dodgers people aren't going to play on top of that with Toronto. People will play Toronto who play to Herman. I don't think you're going to get a ton of Dodger ownership on either side. I'm just going to double check the projections on FanDuel, but. Now they finally released the line, so now maybe you'll get some Dodger ownership, but not that much, because the pricing, and believe me, I've tried to do it all day. It is very, very hard to get Dodgers and Blue Jays into the same lineups, especially on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, it's more doable if you use Herman or one of the other cheaper pitchers that aren't, unless you want to play. You could play the Pollock at 2,400. That's fine. You could play Pujols at 2,200. I don't have him on DraftKings, but I would rather play Turner, Taylor, Bellinger, and Muncy, and Betts. That's just the way that I'm doing it. And I think the Dodgers have an extreme explosion spot here. So on FanDuel, they're my main stack with Toronto. Like I have 4 threes with Dodgers and Toronto, and the only other team I'm including is San Diego. On FanDuel. So on DraftKings, I have very different things.
Well, what do you got on DraftKings?
Well, it's not that I have like the stack or anything, but I have a lot of 2-man Washington things and some 3-men. I love Soto tonight. I've mentioned that his price. I did my daily 5 for 5 plays, which got some nice tweets back to me about just because I haven't done it in a while. But I'm going to be doing that every day. But that was one of my plays of the day is Soto. I just love the no ownership, the 4,500 price. He's right there with all the Blue Jays guys. If you play him in addition to the Blue Jays guys or without him, it doesn't matter. He's just not going to be that popular. And he's one of the best hitters in baseball. He's 4,500. And I don't think Chris Paddock has been much better this year and been pretty good. He's given up home runs. And I think Soto has an excellent chance to hit at least one out tonight. So I have him, and then I've got assuming that Escobar's in the lineup. We still need a lineup, by the way, for both them and the Padres. Assuming that Escobar's in the lineup, he's my other value saver, along with Hae-Sung Kim, who I'm playing in sort of like some 2-men's and 3-men's. I'm stacking on DraftKings. What I'm doing is I'm stacking the Blue Jays with the Padres. I know the Blue Jays are going to be popular. I don't think the Padres are going to be overwhelmingly popular outside of Tatis. And I'm assuming that's if Kim gets in the lineup even. I don't even know if that's going to happen yet. But you also get what's supposed to be the 2,100 catcher in Rivas, who's got a little bit of pop. So you could play him over Jansen, who's going to be really popular. Obviously, you could play Barnes over Jansen, who's going to be really popular. So I'm into this a little bit. I'm into this slate a little bit more, and I love Luis Garcia as a lower owned play on DK. He's the only other one with a 6.5K prop or better, and I know he's had some rough outings lately, or not as strong as he was earlier in the year, but they'll let him pitch some innings. He'll throw near 100 pitches if he's on. Oakland has strikeouts in their lineup, even though they're a solid lineup. You have a low run total against them. I really like Garcia and Wheeler as a combination on DraftKings, and I also like I have, but I have a ton of Alex Wood. I've got 23% Hyunjin Ryu. I've got 20% Corbin in my non-Padres stuff. The guy who I really wanted to get to, again, they're all outfielders, so it's tough, but I really wanted to get Grisham in the lefty-lefty as a low-owned play. And I'm just not able to get there with wanting to play Bellinger and Soto as my other free cheap one-offs. And, with you get a little mini tiny stack with Escobar in the same lineup as Soto if you want to use him at minimum cost if he, in fact, is in the lineup, which we should know pretty shortly.
Yeah, with me on DraftKings, I fear I'm traversing through Chalk City a little bit too much. Because I'm having Wheeler, and then I have a lot of Alex Wood, and then Paddock, and my hitting seems pretty. I have a little Corbin and Herman too, but I got a whole lot of Toronto, man.
It's really hard to get away from today, but I just encourage people to try and even doing a 5-man Toronto stack is a little iffy to me. Just because of how many people you're fighting against. And by the way, it's hard to get the right 5 in first place.
Yeah.
So I'm finding myself, and that's what I do. When you did it last night with the Phillies, to great success. Like you stack 4 of the guys. Not saying that you wouldn't have had success if you stacked 5 because you would have, But in general, you take 4 of those guys, you find your other plays and try and get them into some sort of a stack. But if you don't play the 5, you're already getting off of what most people are doing. So if you play Tatis as your shortstop instead of Bichette, if you can get that extra 400, then you're already lineups with Tatis are less likely to be Padres stacks. They're still going to happen some, but it's much less likely. You know what I mean? And if you play Tatis,
it's very interesting.
I think that's the strategy you want to use on these kind of slates that are small, that are big slates that not even big, medium slates that play really small.
Right.
Where you really like the chalk and they're pretty overwhelmingly better than everyone. What I would encourage people to do though is to get some Dodgers in. I mean, I have 40% Betts, 45% Bellinger. I've got 30% Barnes on DK. Those are the main ones. It's easier to use. Then I've got 20% of Pujols, 10% of Taylor, 10% of Muncy. All of those I expect to be way, way above the field on. So that's sort of my route to success today, or hopefully success.
Yeah.
There's nobody a safer bet though than, I actually built one lineup without any Blue Jays in it and in one of my big buy-ins, and it felt uncomfortable. I don't feel safe with it. You know what I mean? But one thing is there's some other value we haven't talked about. Jesus Sanchez for the Marlins, I think, is a good value play.
Yep.
When he started, they've generally given him as at bats. He's got talent and power. I mentioned Soto as a low-owned play. Another value, if Kim does get in the lineup, which he has been playing against lefties, for the most part, obviously a pinch hit risk, but Corbin tends to, even when he's struggling, he tends to stay in there as long as he hasn't given up 9 runs yet. So I like the Haesung Kim as another value. You could play him at third and play Escobar at second and Jesus in the outfield, and all of a sudden, boom, you've got the money to spend. And even if you spend up at pitcher, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing with some of my big buy-in smaller field tournaments, is doing that with the Blue Jays. And then my favorite one-offs, but getting a little 4-2-1-1 or 4-2-2 action.
Yeah, I'll tell you that the team that I might try to force a little more is maybe Baltimore. I still don't even know who's going to be popular between Baltimore and Arizona. I guess Arizona is going to be more popular, right?
Arizona is going to be, for sure. But I don't think as popular, like you sort of pointed out yesterday. But I didn't necessarily think it would happen so much the same way today. But I sort of forgot that this is a big day for resting players and stuff.
Right.
So you do have some other value options, which I just talked about. I would love to get those lineups in, because if it comes to 405, I'm kind of screwed with guys in the lineup if they're not in the lineup because they're there. But I do think Peralta's ownership probably going to be 15% max. I don't think that the Arizona guys are enough to shy away from unless you're just doing the Arizona Blue Jays thing together.
Right.
And that's what I would just try to stay away from. Even in trying to stay away from it, I've still ended up with some of it. So I think the Colorado side of that game is the lower owned side that you would want to take advantage of with how bad Arizona's bullpen is and Castellanos on the mound. I just didn't get to enough lineups to where I ended up stacking them. I really like the Dodgers, Padres, and obviously the Blue Jays. So it was hard for me to find a way to get them. But
yeah,
I mean, I think the Dodgers are because of Pujols playing, unfortunately, are going to be more owned than I initially expected, and Barnes. That would have made it really hard price-wise otherwise. But I still think you're not going to get any ownership on Bellinger, Taylor, Turner, or Muncy on DraftKings. Possibly somewhat on FanDuel too. The lefties, I'm telling you, every time it happens, every time there's a lefty against the Dodgers, one of the lefties, Muncy or Bellinger, hits one out, I swear. It's usually the first one too, so if you feel good right away. Robert says, hey, what's up, Robert? Good to see you back in here too. Guys, drop in any questions or thoughts as we go along. Also curious if you guys' thoughts on, like, we go up to lock and everything and then we're able to do it, but sometimes I know if there's weather concerns, people want to go jump over to Roto Grinders to get the weather updates and all that. And just if the show's better for you at 45 minutes, we'll do that. If it's better for you at an hour, we'll do that. Just want to sort of gauge you guys on what's good. Or if there's even another time that you'd like to see us live that maybe works for all of you. And I'm sure it's not going to be the same for everyone. It might be hard for Sheets to accommodate, but maybe I can do a live show on my own, even just go through where I'm at that day, if you can find a better time. Because I know we do cross over with the most popular shows in the industry, so it can be a little tricky. But fortunately, it's been paying off because we've had, not myself so much, a little bit. I made some money, but true DFSers have been crushing it over that. We've gotten like double-digit figure wins like almost every day that we've gone on air. So let's keep that going tonight. Sheets, sorry, I just talked for a while. You're welcome to.
No, I was just looking at my DraftKings bills and they look chalky, but I think I'm just gonna go with it. I don't know. I do have some Dodgers, but I'm getting just a lot. You know what? I'm getting a lot of this Philadelphia team, and now I'm a little nervous because this win thing, right?
What about the wind part of it?
It's blowing in now, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it. It was always blowing in today.
Right.
Which was partly the love for Wheeler even being more extreme than usual. Did want to answer a question in chat about favorite one-offs of the day. For me, I mentioned the Bellinger Mookie thing. Those are more like 2-man stacks or 3-man with Barnes or something. But both those guys, Bellinger will not be a one-off owned by anybody. You're better off playing Soto, who's the better play overall because he's in a better situation. So I would say Soto is one of my favorite one-offs. I'm going to skip all the Blue Jays because those guys are all good in whatever you want to play them in. I think Gurriel is actually the one who ends up the lower owned one. Cabrera is the popular one-off that I kind of like. I like Escobar if he gets in the lineup at minimum cost. I like Kim if he gets in the lineup at 2,300, mostly because they allow me to do what I want to do elsewhere. Trey Mancini, another one I didn't mention, but I do like him today a little bit. On DK, though, it's mostly in relation to my Padres. I like Will Myers. It's another one of those days where he's going to be like 30-something% owned on FanDuel and like 10% or 5% on DraftKings. I like those Padres, all of them as one-offs. And I love Tatis as a one-off more than anything, but the way I'm doing it, like I was trying to explain before, is just try to use Tatis in your Blue Jays stacks. Now, if the Padres were going to be super popular also tonight, I would say try to use Bichette in your Padres stacks. But they're not quite the same offense, I don't think, tonight that we have in Toronto. But I still think that's a fine way to go. I would rather play Tatis, and he'll have some ownership. But if you do him with a 4-man rather than play Bichette and make it a 5-man, like I ran into that situation. I won't say exactly my lineup, but I had Bichette and Cabrera, and I switched it from Tatis to Tatis and Kim with my Blue Jays stack, making it a 4-man Blue Jays stack, just again to try and get different.
Right.
And one thing about this Kim guy, that always makes me feel kind of good. He's not an amazing hitter or anything, He's hit 5 home runs in limited playing time this year. That's good enough for me on a guy 2,300. I want a guy who's got a little bit of pop. And so that's sort of what I'm doing, how I'm going about my builds today. And on FanDuel, it's pretty much the same story. I think all the Dodgers make for great one-offs. And I have some Garrett Cooper and some Jesus Sanchez. Those are my other guys who I'm using a little bit of.
Yeah, Philadelphia. We should play a couple more Dodgers.
What's up? W Fresh is what it says. Congrats, Big Sheets. So
yeah, thanks.
I know Sheets loves when people congratulate him. He's the opposite, guys. Oh man, that's gonna take some work. But yeah, I'm pretty settled on baseball today, and we don't have any basketball. But do weigh in on guys on your thoughts on what we were talking about, just about how what times are good for you for the shows. Even if we can't do it, I just want to know, because it is hard that we're going up against everybody else, and it'd be nice to get an active chat room going all the time.
Hey, Bobby, you think Austin Barnes catching for the Dodgers?
Yes.
Okay.
And from my impression of him this year, look, this is not a guy who's ever a monster home run guy or anything close to it. I do think his swing lends itself more to power than it has in the past. I think they worked with him. The Dodgers staff is amazing at this. They've done it with, Muncy never hit more than like 5 home runs before he came to the Dodgers, and Justin Turner was a slap singles hitter. You know what I mean? They can really increase your pitch. Chris Taylor, great example. Austin Barnes, I think, might be trending a little bit more in that direction. He's bulked up a little. He's taking bigger cuts. So Austin Barnes, I do like him. I still think Jansen's the better play, but I don't mind if you want to play Barnes instead or Rivas. Those are the only 3 catchers I'm using. Thanks for the feedback, K9. And they're asking who we like for golf, which we could talk a little more about at some point, I guess, if we get. I've got my golf lineups. We did our golf show earlier, and we've got. I've got a pretty good list of guys, so I can rattle them off while Sheets is doing his thing, unless Sheets has something to say.
Yeah, just give me a sec, because I'm trying to make one decision of whether I took too much Philly or not. All right, I'll worry about it later.
My instincts say yes that you do.
Yeah.
There was a point I was considering Alec Mills today as a pitcher, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we have another guy. Favorite second base, third base player, both under 2,800 on DK. So I have Kim and Alcides Escobar as my 2 that are under that price, but you also have Cabrera, who is at 2,800 if that works for you. I'm not sure who Evan Marshall is, but he's calling somebody jerks. So I guess it's probably us. I don't really know why.
What I do?
This guy just came in the chat and said jerks. I don't really know what that means. Not really the worst of all insults. Not the best. So we'll give him another minute before blocking him in case he wasn't talking to us.
Well, that's not very nice.
Not a very nice way to come on into the chat, but that's all right.
All right, so let's talk about golf, because I want to talk about Steve Stricker.
You're back. Oh, so we're back heavy on the Stricker, huh?
No, we're back heavy on that being my main decision point.
Is Stricker? I don't even. Let's see. This is price even. Actually, I don't think I have it in front of me.
He's like 7,300 or something on DraftKings.
Yeah,
7,700.
27. So, yeah, based on a history and everything, it certainly makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
But I prefer Scott Stallings.
Yeah, right.
That's my personal take.
Yeah, and I like a little Kyle Stanley. Pat Perez is okay.
Yep. I have some.
I'm going down with the freaking ship again. I'm just gonna give the guy more money.
Which guy is that?
Daniel Berger.
Yeah, I'm sort of ended up a little bit more there than I thought I would today too.
Yeah.
Boy, if Chase Seifert hadn't been so bad recently, I would definitely be using more of them.
All these guys are bad, though. You know what I mean? Like, look up John Hudd. You know, like he missed like 7 cuts in a row or something.
He's so awful since he was good at first, and he just.
Yeah, but the point is his field is chock full of second tier guys. So.
Yeah, you're right.
So anybody like people can do stuff here.
Yeah, for sure. I have a ton of Siwoo Kim. I have a lot of Pat Dyer. I have a lot of Scott Stallings, Roger Sloan, and Joseph Bramlett.
Yeah, I'll give you my exact, my exact location here. I'm playing the exact same amount of lineups pretty much every week now. It's building 20 lineups, and I do a 3 max, single max, and a big one, and then I'm basically off to the races. So let me just see. Golf. Yeah, I have just a carload of Burger, and then Varner, Vegas, Stallings. Yeah, those are my highest owned, actually.
Nice.
And I do have 20%. I do have 20% Stricker, by the way. And I have 28% of the Michael Thompson.
Thompson 69 also, right? Yeah, that was the. I have higher than that right now. I've got him at 35%.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that, obviously.
How many lineups are you building on DraftKings?
I think I'll do like 20 in the 15, and I think I'll do like the single entry stuff.
Yeah,
but I don't the other monster stuff.
That's what I'm doing. I'm also doing 20 in the 5. There's a 15 in 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's always frustrating though. If you imagine, you miss out, you win the 5. But still, this is better when it's 50 and 200,000. When it's 50,000 and $1 million, I feel bad if you split the lineups up wrong there. Boy, I really could use a Padres and Nationals lineup to get this day finished here. Oh God, this Run Pure stuff is just so bizarre. It's just like a bizarre, like people are aware. This is like a becoming cult-like behavior.
Best low-cost pitcher.
Nobody's saying anything about Run Pure. We don't even say any bad things about Run Pure until people come on and start saying all this shit towards us for no reason. I do like Redmond JHS. I like Redmond, and I know Sheets did as well earlier.
Yeah, I ended up not getting to him. I don't think. Oh no, I did. I did get to him a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, we need to wait out and hopefully get another weather update very shortly. I'm sure we have some awesome people in chat who will help us out if there's anything that we missed, but I'm double checking my sources right now. And yeah, feel free to drop other questions.
And I reiterate, by the way, if you do play FanDuel, that Adam Schenk is particularly cheap there if you play golf on FanDuel.
Isn't he cheap on DraftKings?
Maybe, but it's just relative to everybody else.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think he's literally the cheapest guy on the whole slate.
Yeah. So let me just try and go back. So Chicago tends to try and get these games in too, if there is any risk. I'm just thinking out loud here because I do feel like the weather thing is the only thing that's really holding that, and not getting the lineups out yet. I mean, I'm rolling with it in my main lineup on DraftKings as of right now, but
what's that?
I'm still rolling with Wheeler in my main lineup on DK right now.
Okay.
But I do feel nervous.
You do?
A little bit. I feel like this game should be better to be played than it's showing. And also, they play. I mean, I've seen games in Chicago in the snow. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. I have 55% Wheeler, but he is in my high buy-in, my largest buy-in lineup. In most of my large buy-in lineups, but not all of them. I have some Wood Paddock, some Wood Ryu. I actually don't have Wood in any of my main lineups because I wanted to try and steer a little bit clear of Chuck Garcia instead. Garcia's been really good this year, and hopefully he can put together one tonight. Lindsay, do I have a Snap? I don't use Snapchat. I think I was like early on, and I used it at the very beginning when I was a few years younger. But I just went away from it. But Instagram, CTL or Soto, DKGBP. I would rather play Soto straight up over Taylor, but if you're going to play your Dodgers stack and if he's the fifth piece, maybe you'd go that direction. I don't mind though just playing Soto or two guys we didn't talk about, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, as well as Gary Sanchez, all stand a reasonable shot to hit one out tonight. Also in that game is the pitcher who no one's using, who wouldn't surprise me if he had 9 strikeouts in 6 innings or something, and that would be Kikuchi.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. If a Wheeler is a no-go, well, we're probably not going to know the answer. So that's a tough one. But for me, it would be Garcia, and then it would be the Wood, Paddock, Ryu, Corbin range, who I have most of those in a similar range. And that's weird. I want to pick on Corbin, but it's the same thing. It's a Patrick Corbin, Robbie Ray rule. You kind of want a piece of them, but you also want to take shots against them. Corbin hasn't been as good this year, but it has flashed signs of it, especially lately until he had to face the Dodgers, which is forgivable. We started seeing him back to looking like he was in his old form, threw a lot of pitches. He's got a huge leash. So Corbin is a guy who I definitely think you should get some exposure to tonight. With the knowing that the Padres are probably one of the better stacks. All right. So I think we just need to know about this weather.
I'll go for one more update. Let me see.
Yeah, if you have another thing, because I'm
just gonna go to Twitter like I did yesterday. Let's see.
I want to see the percentages and hear something about that.
Let's see.
Yeah, these Blue Jays are going to be so crazy popular. This just happened too. We just had this game.
Well, Wrigley wins 72 and it's cloudy. Wind blowing in from left field, center field at 11 miles an hour. Let's see. There's really very little mention of it.
That's my read, is that he's being more reactive, which is why I feel more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I also think that, I mean, at least some people have to be scared after yesterday, but most good DFS players just ignore it, and they just too much so. Like yesterday, they all got burned with DeGrom.
Yeah.
But it's just there's not that many other pitchers that. See, yesterday we had other guys even, who we could even consider a little bit, like not great ones, but like guys who we could go for value. We could do. These guys are sort of all not inspiring, I guess I'll say, about them. I don't really know how else to describe it. There's just nothing like super exciting about playing any of these guys. It's actually weird because on another slate or on a different mindset, I would be thinking about Manaea. I just can't get to it against this Houston team, but that would be one that I would consider. I think people are really, gonna come on to the Garcia. Yeah, it looks like his percentages are going up in my projections. And is nobody really going to take a shot with Corbin? That's really interesting to me. I know it's a tough matchup, but like, talk about a guy with a leash.
Yep.
Maybe I could get a little bit more of Corbin actually, and maybe a little bit less of Alex Wood. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
One more look at my.
I wish that roof was open in Miami. I would just be all over this Dodger game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can even play in Miami, like you said. You can start with that Sanchez guy.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you get, I like Garrett Cooper too, quite a bit.
What's that? Is Aguiar been hitting it well?
Who?
Aguiar?
He hasn't been great lately. I don't know what he did yesterday.
Okay.
But in general, I haven't been on him much.
let's do this then.
It's so weird to like Corbin and like the Padres so much. Makes no sense.
Let's do this. One more edit here. I think I'm going to get off the Phillies a little bit. That's my last decision, I think. Let me just double check this. So if I do this as he talks to himself, yeah, then I go to more Arizona. That's fine. Just see what my big one looks like. Walk off. It's more Arizona. Okay, so I have less. I have less Philly. That's fine. Okay. Anything else? You want to just hang out?
Yeah, if we're good, we can just get out of here. I think that if there's anything else in chat, let me just see.
Bradley says, "Got to cash 5 figures." Reminds me of that lotto scam they used to when someone provided the lottery ticket winner to like a chump, saying I can't cash it in because I don't have my ID or something like that, and cons the person to giving him a certain amount for it, but it was really last week's lotto. So, Brad, if you want like a lineup for a 5-figure score, I can give you one from yesterday. It's up to you to provide the time machine, though.
Interesting point here by, was it Chris or CP in the chat there? Any red flags on Brett Anderson? I did mention him. It's not like a play I loved, but I actually don't think it's a bad play and probably should have been higher on my radar than it has been. So I don't mind. I don't mind if you want to get creative with the Brett Anderson play. That is creative. I like that actually a little bit.
No rain expected in Chicago. Okay. All right, Jay. I'm in.
Of course, we had that happen yesterday with the other game, but I'll leave that one out for now. Boy, this lineup Ryu's got to face is pretty weak.
He's now been blocked in Restream chat, by the way, that guy.
What do you mean?
The Bradley Stevens?
What did he do?
Oh, he just went bananas.
Oh, he's mad again about the thing. Okay.
Oh, he went bananas. So I just totally blocked him from Restream chat. I don't know if he's.
What are people doing? Like, if people want to buy lineups. Look, we're not selling lineups, guys, but we are trying to help.
Yeah, the Sports Almanac. That's right.
You know, we're not. We're like that other show in our industry. Dean always is talking about his Sports Almanac. I swear, he goes like can't go 2 or 3 shows without mentioning Biff in the Sports Almanac. I don't know. He's good though. I always enjoy messing around with Dean.
Yes. Sounds like.
He's a real fun guy. Actually, he's a really nice guy. All right, I need a Padres lineup. That's pretty much what I'm waiting on. Oh, Joey Gallo's now in the home run derby. And there was a no-hitter today, a combined no-hitter, a 5-man combined 7-inning no-hitter, which is like
a 5-man 7-inning combined no-hitter.
Bet you thought that wouldn't happen. And baseball has been around for a long time, but that's got to not. I mean, because we didn't have the 7-inning rule, but that can't have happened many times.
No,
it's just impossible. Like the rain delay and everything. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's the only way. Maybe. All right. So good luck to everybody out there. Unless there's no more questions. Was it a year later than that it won? I don't know if that was right. It's a good question. Guys, good luck. Somebody take it something down tonight and let us know about it. Any other questions? I'll be in Discord. And yeah, good luck to everybody.